Welcome to my presentation on Understanding by Design. Today we are going to take a look at Stage 3 and I'm going to give you an overview of the template for that process. For Stage 3, this is where we begin to focus on our learning plan. We want to think about what type of teaching and learning experiences that we would like for our students to experience and to engage in order to make sure that they are able to develop and demonstrate those goals, those understandings, that deeper learning that we would like for students to experience. The way that we are going to do that is using the where to elements. So we first begin with the W. The W is where we start to think about helping our students to know where our unit is going, what is expected, and really we also begin to find out where the students are coming from. What are their interests? What is the prior knowledge that students have? And I like to think of the W part really as the part where we are being transparent with our students. So for W, we're looking at developing our SMART learning objectives, and those are the objectives that are specific, measurable, attainable, results focused, and time focused. In the where section, we're also focusing on what the benefits are to the student. What are they going to gain by completing our lesson or completing our class? And then how are we going to know where the students are coming in? Where are we meeting the students? Where are they? What is their prior knowledge? And how will we test for any types of misconceptions that they may have? Then we move to H, and the H is the hook and hold. Hook and hold is really one of my favorite sections. This is the section where we want to get the students right away, get them interested in our lesson. This is where we think about what are some of the provocative questions that we may want to ask. Are there experiments? Are there experiences that will really draw students to our lesson? And then once we've hooked them, how are we going to hold their interest? When you're looking at this section, you also want to focus on the technology that you might be utilizing. Are you going to use simulations? Are you going to have students view a video as an example? The first E we get to is equip students. And this is where we're thinking about what are the necessary experiences? What are the tools that we want students to have in order to meet their performance goals? What would we like our students to experience? And then along with that, we are moving on to the R, which is where we ask students to rethink, revise, where we're giving them opportunities really to think about the big ideas, maybe challenge some of the assumptions or some of the knowledge that they thought they have, give them an opportunity to perhaps revise their thinking. This is also the section where we work on developing metacognition. We have students reflect and learn how to self-regulate. Maybe they write journals to reflect on some of their experiences and connect them to prior experiences that they have. The second E is where we focus on evaluation. What type of assessments do we want to do? And this is formative assessments that we're looking at. And formative assessments are those where students will do an assessment and they still have time to correct any deficiencies, to improve their work. And this is where we think about a formative assessment. For example, a simple thing that an instructor could do is have the students at the end of the class maybe write down the key concepts for that particular lesson, maybe the big idea for that lesson, and then an instructor can check for misconceptions, and if there are any, then they can provide that type of feedback to a student so that the student can modify their learning. T is where we begin to tailor the learning. This is where we recognize that our students are not all of the same. They have many differences. They come with different experiences, different degrees of readiness. And so what we look at here is, are there ways, based on the feedback that we've gotten from students, that we can differentiate how students can demonstrate their learning without sacrificing the learning goals that we have set for the unit. The O element is where we organize. We think about how we're going to sequence the lesson plan so that we can really maximize engagement for students. So some areas that we are looking at is, how can we make the plan learner-centered? Are we going to have students do case studies as an example so that students can actively participate in the learning? Making sure that students have authentic experiences where it is similar to what they might experience in the real world, where we can focus on creativity and have students use their higher order skills. And then we also want to look again at how we might assess students' learning and come up with a rich variety of both formative and summative assessments that are again aligned with our goals. And then finally, we want to think about, especially with technology, how we will analyze the data, the feedback that we are getting to adjust our content if needed. And that's all for lesson 3. Thank you.